What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Let me come on the screen. What's up? Tasha is checking in with another video, and this is going to be none other than my story time video, y'all. So if it's your first time joining me, go ahead and like this video, comment in the comment section, and most importantly, subscribe to the Redefine Me channel. Okay. Hold on, let me change something real quick. One of my banners is wrong. Okay, there we go. Now it's right. All right, y'all. I hope y'all having an amazing, awesome Sunday. I had a very great Sunday. Church was awesome. Um, Today was baptism Sunday, and we had a lot of young people that got baptized today, and it was just so amazing, so dope. I absolutely thank God for that experience. This is a new church for me, so I've never seen one of their baptism services. Excuse me. But when I say they go in and celebrate you for taking another step in your walk with Christ, is just amazing. Okay. And so I was able to be there. I loved it. I will say that I am a little spent. I'm a little tired. And so I was like, let me come on and do my story time. And then after I do that, I'm going to relax and chill. I was like, normally on Sundays, I clean my house, I do some laundry and stuff like that because it's my last off day. But baby, today I'm not doing none of that. I'm not going to do anything when I get off of here with y'all for the story time. All right, y'all. So disclaimer. These story times that I give y'all is stuff that happened back in the day. It's true stories and stuff that happened in my life. Okay. So I love interacting with you all when you leave your comments to my replay watchers and my live watchers. But my replay watchers, I love interacting with the comments. I just ask that you all be very respectful and we can have a little kiki and everything and just really react in a very respectful way. So I love y'all. Excuse me. And I thank you all for watching this story time and joining me. All right, let's jump into it. Okay. Now, this story, and let me just also say, shout out to all my New York Yankees. or do they call y'all Yankees or whatever? I don't know. Or my New Yorkers, whatever y'all call yourselves. I love y'all, right? I really do. I don't have no beef with no New Yorkers. However, this was a situation that happened on one of my many trips to New York. When I lived in DC, New York was my second home. Like, it would be nothing for me to book a ticket on Greyhound. Now, this was back in the day. Greyhound tickets to go to New York was like $50 round trip. So it used to be nothing for me to do a round trip ticket to New York and vibe out for the weekend. I remember one of my funnest weekends in New York is when I stayed in Harlem. When I tell y'all, after I booked my ticket, I only had like 90 something dollars in my account, right, in New York. So 90 something dollars in your account in New York is just tragic, right? However, I was able to have a blast for the weekend because my silly self overspent the money, of course. However, back in the day, they used to have the overdraft protection and stuff like that. So the money, you had money there, right? 90 some dollars, but I could spend over that amount. I could spend an extra additional 90 some dollars. And on Tuesday, then I would get all these negatives and have to pay overdraft fees and whatever. And so at the time, young and dumb, I was just like, I deal with that on Tuesday. I'm out the wild out for the weekend. So let's get into this story time. But anyway, all that to say, I love New Yorkers. I love y'all. But this is something that happened when I went there. Okay. So the year was 2001. I think it was, hold up, let me see. I think it was 2001 or 2002. And I was just starting out college. One of my professors told me, and at the time I was going to school for interior design. Love interior design. If you all do not know what interior design is, it is when you design the inside of spaces. So it can range from doing residential design, which is houses, even apartments, what have you. Or you can do a hospitality design, which is restaurants, hotels, or you can do commercial design, which is like office buildings. You have construction sites that may need it, things like that. So you have all these different levels of interior design, and I really loved the major, even though it was very difficult. It was a very difficult major, okay? And so at this point, I was in college for interior design, very excited to learn, very eager to learn. One of my professors who was from New York, and this was before I had my daughter. This was right before I had my daughter. So I'm thinking it was like 2002, maybe 2003. And so one of my professors, she's from New York, and she said every year in New York at Pier 94, they have an interior design show. And so in this particular show, you could bring your portfolio, like work that you have done, and you can have them critique your portfolio. You can get certain samples, mingle with designers, mingle with other students that may be there, yada, yada, yada. It was a big deal for the interior design industry. And so I was so excited. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to actually go. I'm going to actually go. And so at the time, I did not book a Greyhound to go to this particular event. I went ahead and drove. Now, if you all have never driven to New York, I'm telling you now, it is one of them drives that will try your spirit. I don't recommend anybody driving to New York if you don't have to, because one or two things, right? Unless you are like in New Jersey, right? Okay, that's a no brainer. Or Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, something like that, maybe. However, even if you're in close proximity, New York's traffic is crazy. The drivers are crazy. They could be sitting in traffic and still beeping their horn, and you're just wondering, like, why are we beeping? Because we're not going anywhere, right? The drivers, they are very aggressive, impatient, and then you have to find somewhere to park. If you don't park, if you park on the street, you're going to have to pay. If you park in the garage, you're going to have to pay this extreme price. So I don't subscribe for anyone driving to New York. If you have to go to New York, I would recommend getting on Greyhound, train, plane, but do not drive. However, at this time, I decided to drive. So I got in my car, and at the time I had a 2002. So this had to be in like 2002 or 2003, because I had a 2002 Chevy Cavalier, and it was like a sports Cavalier, right? And so I get in my car, I'm excited, and with this car though, the lock on my trunk that opens the car, it was jiggly, it was loose. So keep that in your back pocket as we go on with the story. So I went ahead and I got in the car, packed my little bags and everything, or packed my little bag, had my portfolio, and I was ready to go. New York is 4.5 hours from DC. Okay, so it's not an extremely long drive. And so I was excited to be doing the drive and going, you know. Now, now, on the way to New York, I had stopped. On me, I think I had about $500, right, to go to New York, and I stopped. Excuse me, at Philadelphia, because my father said that he would give me $100. So at the time, that's where he was living, and so I stopped. I got the $100 from him, and then I got back on the road and went on to New York. Okay. Now, this story gets so crazy. It has so many levels, right? So stay with me. So I get to New York and I'm excited, because I think at this point, this was my second time in New York. And what's crazy is that I had met a guy on Black Planet. Now, this shows you how old this is. I met a guy on Black Planet, and this guy I liked, right? We're going to call his name Richard. Okay, so I met this guy Richard on Black Planet, and I liked Richard. So Richard had a brother that lived in Maryland. So Richard was in Maryland for a period of time, And then when 9/11 happened, which I think 9/11 happened in '01, he went back to New York. So he moved back to New York because he wanted to be with his daughter. Crazy thing is, his daughter's mom ended up getting married not too long after that, and she had moved to Texas. So it was just like you went back to New York for nothing. But anyway, so when I was going to go to New York to go to this interior design event, I had told Richard, and I was like, while I'm there, we should hook up and meet and chill or whatever. And he was like, cool. Okay, so I'm in the car. I get to New York. I pull up to Pier 94 and I pull into the area where you could park at, because they had like a little garage where you could park at and things like that. So I pull into the garage where you could park at. Now, I had heard all the stories from New York from TV and from other people, right? Because it's my second time here, right? Mind you. So I heard all the stories about New York, and I was just like, let me make sure I just tuck my purse in the back seat. So when I got in a parking deck, I pulled the seat down from inside, and I tucked my purse in the inside, thinking nobody saw me and everything like that. And I had took a little bit of money out to go into the event with, right? So had my portfolio. I was dressed professionally. I was ready to mix and mingle. I was ready to do this event, right? So after I had parked and everything, I get out of the car. 2 seconds later, this dude rides up. Now, he looks like he was maybe Hispanic or something like that. He had on some type of work clothes, so I believe he was like the parking attendant. So he rides up 2 seconds later, okay, after I get out the car. He's like, hey, how you doing, whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you from D.C.? I'm like, yes, I'm from D.C. And he's like, oh, okay, what you doing here? I said, I'm here for this interior design event. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, he said, let me, I think you're pretty. Let me get your number. Let's go out later. Let's chill or whatever. Now, I already told y'all I was supposed to be, hanging out with Richard for that weekend, because I was going to be there Friday, Saturday, and I was leaving Sunday. So I was supposed to hang out with Richard, but at the end of the day, I was getting my own hotel. I wasn't going to be staying with Richard. I was getting my own hotel, and this particular guy, I was like, well, I ain't gonna be with Richard all the time. I'm like, okay, well, let me book another date while I'm here in the NYC, just out of pocket, right? And so I went ahead and gave him my phone number and all of that. And he was like, okay, I'll see you later, yeah. I'm like, okay, fine. So I went inside the event. I'm in there, I'm getting samples. I'm excited. Downfall. I ended up wearing some heels, right? Which was so cute, but these heels started hurting my feet. And at the time, I was just so out of touch and young and not understanding that when you do heels, one thing that you need to make sure that you have is some slides. You gotta have some slides if you're going to do some heels, because if not, your feet is going to be killing you, okay, by a certain point. I didn't think that far ahead. I was just excited to be in New York at this event. So I went ahead, I stayed in the event for a little bit, mixed, mingled, had fun. Now, the event was lasting for the whole entire weekend. So whatever I did not do that day, I was going to come back Saturday and attend the event as well, and possibly Sunday before I left. Now, for the event, I believe it was free. I don't think you had to pay to get into the event. So I was like, stayed in there for maybe an hour or two. And I said, let me go, because, I want to check into my hotel room. I want to change out of these professional type clothing, hook up with Richard and everything, see what's going on, and, just vibe out in New York, right? Cool. So I'm leaving. I'm walking back to my car and see my car and everything. I get in the car, and I call Richard. He gives me his address. Cool. I'm on my way to Richard's house to meet up with him. So I get to Richard's house, and he says, let me take you to your hotel room. So I was going to stay at a Howard Johnson. New Yorkers call it Hojo. I was going to stay at this Howard Johnson. Richard lived in the Bronx, and so I went to the Bronx excuse me, to pick him up and he was going to take me over to my hotel room, right? So I let him drive because, of course, I don't know the ins and outs of the streets and everything. Even though Richard was driving a little crazy in my car, I was like, calm down. I ain't trying to wreck my car in the city. So he's driving, and we was on our way to the Hojo, and he says that, oh, I forgot something at my house. So we had to go back to Richard's house. So we went back to his house and we parked in front of his house. He goes inside, excuse me, he goes inside to get what he needs. And then after he goes inside, we get ready to leave. So he tries to start the car up. The car would not start. And I was just like, what's going on? I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, are you joking with me? Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, please don't let this be happening, right? So he's starting the car, trying to turn the car over. The car would not turn over. And I'm just thinking to myself, you got to be kidding me. Like, for real. You have to be kidding me. Because the car, when I got the car, it was brand new. It was only 2003. So how the heck could this car be having an issue already, right? Brand new car. So I'm just thinking to myself, you got to be kidding me. This can't be right. So I'm getting flustered, irritated. Richard says, you know what? I'll be right back. So Richard gets out of the car. I'm in the Bronx, right? And looking around, you know, the Bronx is not a place that you just want to be caught sitting in the car, you know? And so Richard gets out the car. He goes over and he says, he said, I'll be right back. So he went around the corner and he grabbed a guy that he knew that was a mechanic. So the guy came around the corner, lifted up my hood, and he looked and he said, okay, let me see if I could try this. So he sprays something on my engine and he tells Richard to turn the key. When Richard turns the key, the car turns over and starts. I looked at the guy and said, oh my God. I was like, thank you so much, right? The guy tells me it's going to be short-lived. The car isn't going to stay started, right? So in no less than I thanked him, and he told me that the car cut back off. I was like, oh God, what am I going to do? So the man was like, well, you're going to have to get the car towed to a shop or whatever to see what the problem is with the car. Now, mind you, I am in New York for the interior design event at Pier 94. I'm supposed to be at my hotel right now, taking a shower, getting out of these clothes, getting ready to see what is outside. You know, I'm supposed to be about to live my best life, right? Now my car has broken down. So we go in Richard's house. Now, anybody who lives in the Bronx, do not get offended, but Richard's apartment was disgusting. Okay. Not his apartment. I'm sorry. The building was disgusting. The building smelled like weed. The whole entire building, okay, smelled like weed. It was ridiculous. It was just dirty. I mean, the area that he lived in the Bronx was just dirty. And I was just like, you know what? I don't understand what's going on here with this area, but whatever. I need to just follow him because he is the only person I know in New York at this point in time. So we get in his house. Now, his house wasn't dirty, but it was weed smells everywhere outside the house. So I'm pretty sure it travels inside of the house, right? So he looks in the phone book. And at that time, yes, we were still using phone books. He looks in the phone book and he finds a mechanic place that is not far from here. He gets on the phone with the people. He tells them that this car broke down and can we bring it into the shop? And we bring it into the shop and y'all find out what's wrong with it. How much would it be to fix it and blah, blah, and all of that. So they said, yeah, tow it over here. We'll check it, see what's wrong with it. And he asked, can y'all have the car ready by Sunday because this person is out of town and they got to go back home by Sunday. They says, yes, we can have it ready by Sunday. They were like, all right. I was like, all right, cool. Excuse me. So Richard goes and we call the tow truck. Now, I get my purse out of the car, and this is when I'm going to discover that I have been robbed. Because at this point, I don't know that I've been robbed. So I get my purse out of the trunk and everything. I'm telling him, I'm gonna have to pay for this tow, yada yada yada. I'm thinking, okay, I gotta pay for the tow, and then maybe we can get a taxi or something, take it to my hotel room. I was still having hope that this weekend could possibly be salvaged. Not to mention, on Monday I had school and I had an assignment project that I had to work on while I was out of town, right? Okay, so the tow truck came, towed my car over to the shop. I get my purse out to pay the people, right? Remember I told you at the beginning I had $500 in my purse. So when I went in the purse to pay the people, I only had $250. I only had $250 in my purse when I went to pay the people. Now I'm up here pissed because I'm like, what happened to my money? I knew how much I came with. So I'm telling Rob, I'm like, somebody stole my money out of my purse. And he's like, how did that happen? And I'm like, oh my God, it had to have been the daggone parking lot attendant that act like he wanted to take me out and stuff. Because remember, I told y'all the lock on my trunk was jiggly. So he must have been outside doing something to jiggle my lock, popped the trunk or got in the trunk and was able to take some of my money. So he robbed me. Took money out of my purse. Now I will say this, at least he was an honest crook because at least he didn't take all of my money. He did leave me with something. But at this point, once I paid tow truck driver, I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to even have enough to pay for my room for the weekend. So Richard at the time was living with his mom, right? I know what y'all saying. He lived with his mom. How old was this dude? Now, at the time, I was 20. I think I was 20. So if I was 20, I believe he was, how old was he? If I was 20, he was probably like 29, 30, maybe 31, whatever. He was significantly older than me. He was at least like 10 or 11 years older than me, right? And so Richard went and he asked his mom, and I didn't think nothing of it because New York was super expensive at that time, and so I know it's expensive now. So it was no thing for me to even think anything if you were still living with people, because I just thought that's how they survived up there, because that's the only way you could survive up there. So he asked his mom if I could stay and, have the couch, right? And I was just like, they had 2 sofas or 2 couches in the living room. And he was like, if she could have the couch or whatever. So his mom was like, okay, I don't have a problem with that. She could stay and everything like that. Now, Richard's mom was super nice, okay? And me and him stayed in contact after this for a couple of years. And I found out that his mom ended up dying a couple of years after this situation happened. So that was really sad for him. But anyway, back to the story. So the mom was really nice. She said I could stay because it was no way that I was going to be able to go to the Hojo. Not because of the fact that I couldn't have called a taxi, but because I had got robbed for about $250, right? So paid for the car, got it towed over there. The next day, we called the people to see if they diagnosed what was wrong with the car. They told us that it needed a new starter or something like that. And so I'm thinking to myself, I'm asking them, how much is that going to be? So they tell me that this new starter is going to be about $900 some odd. I was like, oh my God. I was like, where am I going to get $900 something from? I'm in New York and I don't know nobody but Richard and his mom now. So I called my mom, right? And I told her what happened. I said, the car has broke down up here. I had to get it towed. I got robbed. And they told me to fix this car, it's going to be $900 something to fix it, right? And so my mom is just like, may God be with you, because I don't have it. And I was just like, what am I supposed to do? So my mom was like, why don't you call your dad? Because your dad lives in Philadelphia. He's closer to you. Maybe he can come there or something, give you the money, whatever. I don't know. Maybe he could wire it to you. I don't know. So my dad has never really been a person that you could count on for financial help in my life ever. So I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, if my dad don't have the money, then what am I going to do? So I told my mom, I said, all right, cool. So I called my dad. I tell my dad what happens because he already given me $100, which was a shocker in itself. So I tell my dad what happens, and he says, okay, let me make a call. I will call you back. So my dad made a call, and he was like, I'm going to wire you $1,000. Now I'm just like, say what? $1,000? Now keep in mind, this man has had not been around in my life or the growing up in my life. He act like he didn't have no money because my mom was only getting $70 for child support. He did not spend time with us, was an absent father. All of these things was correct about him, right? So for him to say that he was going to wire me $1,000, I was shocked. Okay. So he did. He wired me the $1,000 at we had to go to some store in the Bronx and pick it up. So we pick up the money, the people work on a car. Now I had the money for the car, right? However, because of this, I was not able to go back to Pier 94. Now, I know what y'all saying. It's New York. Catch the train. You could have got back down there. Yes, that could have been the case. I could have got back down there on the train. However, I was so upset. My mind was so gone. I was only focused on hoping that these people fix my car right and that I could get back home properly. So I started working on my project. I was doing schoolwork. I had stuff all over like Richard's and his mom's living room. And I'm just in there doing my schoolwork, right? Trying to stay motivated and everything like that because my whole weekend has been shot. I got robbed. My car broke down. I couldn't even go chill with Richard, and I couldn't chill with the robber. The Hispanic dude that robbed me. But I ain't want to chill with him no more anyway because you robbed me, jerk. Anyway, so now fast forward, the people call us and tell us that the car is ready, right? So when I find out that the car is ready, I'm like, great. We go, we pick up the car. I give them $900 something. The car ran fine and everything like that. Went back to Richard's house. Now, I was raised right, and I stayed at their house for the weekend. I used their water to shower, stuff like that. Even though when I got ready to eat, we would order something and everything for the weekend, so I paid for my food, whatever. So I wanted to give his mom something. So I had $40. I think I had more than $40, but I wanted to give her $40. So Richard told me that my mom is not going to take the money. Right. And I said, well, I at least want to say thank you for your hospitality because you could have told me, no, I don't know her. She's not staying here type thing. So he said, all right, I'm going to go give it to her and see what happens. So he went to go give the mom the $40, and 2 seconds later, he comes running out of the room. And I'm like, what are you doing? So he runs out of the room and he's like, I told you what was going to happen. So she comes out and she says, I'm so offended. Why would you try to give me anything? You were a guest in my home, blah, blah. She was just a super sweet lady, right? So she gave me the $40 back. She said, don't worry about it. Now, she was super sweet and everything. But when she went back in the room, Richard was like, well, I could use the $40. Child, Richard was a whole mess and a half. Okay. So I gave him the $40 because it was his house too. And I was like, well, I wanted to sow into somebody and thank them for the hospitality. But sir, you didn't have to take the money for real. Anyway, I'm going to tell y'all another story right after this about Richard, just because we're on him, right? So we went and picked up the car. The car got fixed. I went ahead. I left. I went back home. I was thanking God that my dad was able to help me. I'm thinking he probably got the money from a woman that he was dealing with at the time, because I'm telling y'all now, I know for a fact that he did not have that money just sitting around to help me, right? I know this. So I went back home, and that was the end of New York and how I got robbed. Yo, that was so messed up. on so many levels what that guy did. However, I was thankful though that I was able to get my car fixed. I was thankful though that I was able to have a place to stay. But it's crazy because remember I told y'all the whole building smelled like weed. So when I got back to my house in at the time I was in Maryland. So when I got back to the house in Maryland and I had my bag, I opened my bag up, weed, all of this weed smell just rushed in my face. And I was like, oh my God, is that all of my clothes? I had to throw all my clothes in the dirty clothes. I had to throw my daggone duffel bag that I had the stuff in the dirty clothes, the bag, everything smelled like weed. And this is why I hate smokers. I hate the smoking. And I hate weed and stuff because cigarettes, weed, black amounts, all that stuff gets in your clothes and everything. And it's just, to me, it's just unbecoming, and I like to smell good. I don't like to smell like all these different smokes and things like that. So anyway, so Richard, part 2, another story time on him. So remember I told y'all he wanted to get the $40. So I gave him the $40. Cool, it was fine. Now fast forward, I'm back in DC. I'm working and everything. It was around tax time, right? And so me and Richard kept in contact off and on. Like I would call him sometimes, he would call me, we would text or whatever. But it wasn't nothing serious. Like we wasn't in no relationship or anything like that. So one day he calls me up, and around tax time, somebody always has some type of sob story where they need help with finances. So Richard calls me up and he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm great. I'm just doing really bad. I just, my car, at the time he had got a car. My car ended up getting towed and everything, and I got to pay these tickets on it to get it out of impound and stuff like that. And I don't know how I'm going to do that because I don't have the money. I would wanted to ask you if it's possible if I could borrow $300. Now, me and Richard was cool. I made a connection with him on Black Planet. Like I said, that's how I met him. When I was about 18, I met him. We made a connection. We was cool. He had never asked me for money before. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, I think we're cool. So I'll let you borrow the $300. He's like, cool. I'll pay you back when I get my next check. Fine. At this time, it was, I said April. At this time, I believe it was like maybe... It was probably like March when he asked for the money. Which reminds me, I gotta book my appointment to do my taxes this year. But anyway, I digress. Sidebar. So he asked me, for the money, for the $300. And I said, all right, cool. So I Western Union him the money and everything. He got the $300. He said he would pay me back when he got paid. Fine. So fast forward, 2 weeks come up, right? And I'm looking, for my money. I'm texting him. I didn't text him or nothing or bother him. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? So the pay period had passed. We was coming up on the next week. The next week had passed. So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's going on? Is Richard going to give me my money or what? So I text him and I say, I thought you was going to pay me back the $300 when you got paid. And it's actually been past your pay period plus an additional week. So he's just like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't take advantage of you and all this stuff. He started getting defensive. So then he goes and he sends me $150, right? Not the whole $300. Now I gave him $300 and I gave it to him all at once. So he sends me $150 and I'm just looking like, okay. And he's just like, I'll give you the rest when I get paid. So I'm like, all right, giving Richard the benefit of the doubt again. So fast forward. Weeks pass, months pass. Now we're getting into like, I think it was like May. And so I messaged him and I was just like, I could not imagine that you would take advantage of me. Why have you not given me the rest of my money back? I gave you, what's up, Trina girl? I gave you $300 at one time. You didn't give, I gave it to you all at once. Why are you giving it to me in increments? And so he tried to call me, but I was at work. I couldn't answer the phone. And so when I picked up, when I was able to talk to him, he was just like, I'm not trying to take advantage of you or none of that. I'm going to give you your money back. Finally, he gave me the extra 150 back when we got off the phone. But our relationship was severed at that time. And so we never spoke again. We ended the relationship off of some money because Richard tried to manipulate me. He thought I wasn't going to ask for my money back and everything like that. And so that whole relationship ended and was over. But at the time when I got robbed, he did help me out. But I haven't spoken to Richard now. Like, I'm 42 now, so Richard has to be like 52, 53 at this point. But yeah, y'all, that was that was like a part two of the story time, that the little because Richard played a part in the I got robbed in New York. So I just snuck that little tidbit in there. But yeah, he come asking me for money around tax time, and because we was cool, I gave it to him. But yeah, you gonna pay me back all my money at one lump sum, one time, sir. I don't want it broken down. But he had to break it down. I got my money. It's just that after that, we didn't talk anymore because I was just like, I don't like no dude. One is going to ask me for money. Two is going to sit up there and break it down in increments and do that. So anyway, so just to recap, because I know some of y'all just came in the room, just a recap of how I got robbed. I went to New York and I did, like I said, I went to Pier 94 and I went to a interior design event. I was 20 years old. I was in college. One of my professors suggested that I go to Pier 94 to this event. So when I got there, I drove. At the time I was in DC. DC is like 4.5 hours from New York. So I drove. When I got there, excuse me, my car is doing better. However, it's still trying to work itself out. So give me a second. Still trying to work itself out. And even on that, I don't know what's going on, because I had got sick on the Valentine's Day week. And so I'm feeling much better. Absolutely. But this cough, I'm just like, I've tried cough drops, Robitussin. What else was I taking? NyQuil. I have drugged myself up so much. I'm like, why isn't this cough just done with? But most of the time, it's not an issue. For the most part, it's not like it was, but it kicks up sometimes, and I'm just like, why am I still dealing with this? But anyway, so went to New York, went to Pier 94, went to this interior design convention, brought my portfolio, was going to show my work to some designers. I was there, I was vibing, I was having a good time because I love New York. Like, that was like my second home. I used to go to New York every chance I got. Even after I got robbed there, I still went back to New York and stayed in different boroughs. I would do that almost every other month. And my friends from DC hated New York. They was like, why are you always going to New York? Because they wanted to go do stuff. And I'm like, let's hit up New York. At the time, it was $50 on a round trip Greyhound. So I was like, you can't beat that. They was like, no, we don't like New York. We don't want to go to New York. I said, all right, well, forget it then. Y'all can stay. Y'all don't have to go with me. So I was solo trip to New York all the time at my young age, right? And all the fears and things in New York that you hear about and think about is actually true. It is, their subway system is dirty. Them carts have not been upgraded since the 80s. I saw a rat that was this big in New York, and that was just the body. And the tail was as long as my arm. It was horrible. So yeah, New York, everything that you think that you've heard about it is absolutely true. So the guy, when I was parked at Pier 94 and I got out the car, this particular guy, he came up, he saw me, he said, oh, I think you're cute, blah, blah. He was a Hispanic guy. Now, this guy was cute, okay? And he was one of the parking lot attendants. So on the back of my trunk of my car, it was like jiggly a little bit. The lock was jiggled. But before I got out the car and before he rolled up in his little cart, I tucked my purse. I pulled my back seat down and I tucked my purse in the back seat. Now, just because it was my second time in New York doesn't mean I was about to be stupid out here in these streets, because I did hear about, being careful in that city because it's a lot that goes on. So the guy, we exchanged numbers. I'm thinking to myself, yes, while I'm here, I'm going to see Richard, my friend. But I'm like, bump that. I'm gonna have 2 days while I'm here. I was a mess at 20 years old, okay? And so I went into the event, had a good time, and it was a weekend event. So I was going to be there Friday, Saturday, and go back home on Sunday. So I was going to go to the event Friday, go to the event Saturday, and then, of course, leave Sunday. So when I got back to my car, I went, called Richard, my friend in New York, told him I was on my way to pick him up because he was going to take me to the Hojo, which is Howard Johnson. New Yorkers say Hojo for short. And so I was going to go to the Hojo. That was where I was going to be staying. And he was going to take me there because, of course, he's from the Bronx. And so I went over to the Bronx to pick him up. And Howard Johnson was not too far from him, right? So we get in the car, we go to, on our way to the Hojo, he forgot his wallet. So we go back to his house, he picks up the wallet. Once we get to the house, now I don't know that I've been robbed at this point. Once we get to his house, he starts the car back up for us to go. My car won't start. And I'm thinking to myself, you gotta be kidding me. I am 4.5 hours away from home. I don't have time for this crap. So long story to the short, I ended up having to replace my starter in the car, right? It was going to cost $900 something. Now, I only had on me $500. I had stopped and got $100 from my dad. He lived in Pennsylvania at the time. No, he lived in Philadelphia at the time. I stopped on the way, got money from him, and then that equaled up to the $500 that I had for the weekend. So now they're telling me I need a new starter and it's going to cost $900 something. When I called my mom, she was like, get off my phone. I don't got it. I was like, Dad. She didn't really say that, but she was just saying, I don't have it. So she said, call your dad. I said, child, this man ain't never had an extra red dime that I could remember ever in life. So I called my dad. He actually had the money. Now, I think it was a woman he was dealing with at the time that had the money because I don't think he did. I, for a fact, know he didn't. So he sent me, excuse me, he Western Union me $1,000. I took $900 of it. I paid for my car, and I went ahead and got the car back, and I ended up, having it fixed. Now, this is how I found out I got robbed. When I had to have the car towed, I went in my purse to pay the man. I had $500 on me, right? I went in my purse to pay the man. All I had in my purse was $250. So I'm looking around the purse. I'm looking at my wallet. I'm like, wait, what is going on? Where's the rest of my money? So Richard is like, what the heck is going on? What do you mean? Where's your money? I'm like, oh my God, I think I got robbed. I think it was the freaking parking lot attendant dude that went in my truck, jiggled the little keyhole out, whatever he did. But he took half of my money. Now, the only thing I can say there was a plus that at least he didn't take all of my money. He was an honest criminal. But at the end of the day, Negro, you robbed me. Like, what the heck is wrong with you? So the tow was like $70-something. So my room at Hojo for the weekend, I think they said it was going to be like $125 or something like that. So I didn't even have enough money to be able to stay at the Hojo now because I got to eat also and all of that. So I'm taking that into account. So now I'm pissed off, right? Because I'm just like, yo, this nigga took half of my money and what am I going to do? So Richard was like, at the time he lived with his mom. And if y'all already watched the beginning of this video, thank y'all, because this was all at the beginning of the video too. I'm just kind of doing like a quick recap, right? So the Hispanic cute parking attendant robbed me, y'all, took half my money. So Richard said, I'm going to ask my mom if you can stay with us. Now, at the time he was living with his mom, yes. And I know y'all thinking, why were you dealing with some dude that's living with his mom? But at the time, New York was expensive. Shoot, right now, New York is expensive. So I didn't think nothing of it if he had to live with his mom because I'm just like, it's expensive, you know. And at the time, I think Richard was like 31 or something like that because I was 20. So I think he was like 31 or something. His mom said I could stay there. I ended up staying there for the weekend. I had to do some schoolwork because I had to go to school on Monday. They fixed my car. I got the car back. I went home, and that was the end of the how I got robbed in NYC. Shout out to my New Yorkers. I love y'all. But that city, boy, let me tell you something. And it's funny because I got robbed that time. The next time I went to New York, I had drove again. Now, I always tell people, do not drive to New York. I have had 2 experiences driving to New York, and I would never, ever do it again. This light is all up in my face. Hold on, y'all. So I would never do a New York trip again. I feel like that's too dark. Not with a vehicle. I'm just gonna leave it like that. So the second time, the next time I had drove and went to New York, how about my car had broke down again? And it was the same issue, the starter. But thank God that one of my girlfriends had went with me this time, and we met these 2 guys, and one of the guys worked on cars. So he was like, I think it's your starter or what have you. So all you gotta do is, I had a hammer in my trunk. I don't even know why I had a hammer in my trunk. Bang on the starter and start the car up at the same time. So while I'm tapping the starter, she starts the car. Now, the kicker was that we could not turn the car off, or we would have to go through the same thing. But we had to stop and get gas on the way back home and all of that. And so, if you getting gas, you don't want to leave the car on. So we turned the car off, and it did do that stall thing. But we took the trusty old hammer, banged on the starter, and it started back up, right? So even after I got back home, I was like, I'm not replacing another starter. And had I known what I knew now, I would have taken that car back to the dealership and was like, this is a new car. Because the car I had was a 2002 Chevy Cavalier. And at the time, it was like, well, by the second time I went and with my friend and drove to New York, it was like 2004. And so the car wasn't old at all for it to have had 2 major issues in a short period of time, right? So I don't know, New York was just wild. Like, I've always had a great time every time I went, except for the 2 times when I got robbed and then my car broke down both times. So those were not fun. But any other times that I went to New York, I've always had a great time because I love the city. I don't know why. I mean, it has its issues and everything like that, but I happen to love the city. So that's my story time, y'all. I told y'all I was going to give y'all, this has been like 2 weeks in the making, and I got so many other story times that I need to get out, that I need to tell y'all about. If y'all liked it, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Now I'm about to talk to y'all real quick. I ain't going to be hood or nothing like that because I had a great day at church this Sunday. However, I'm going to just say something real quick. And if it applies to you, put the shoe on and wear it and take it in. If it don't apply to you, don't even worry about it, right? Listen, I'm on the road to hit 1,000 subscribers. Now, I have been doing YouTube now for like a year and a half. And I love it. I love doing YouTube. I love doing various videos and things like that. I love connecting with different people from around the US and sometimes around the world. So I love doing YouTube. What I do not love is how I'll get like 5 subscribers, right? After this video. We're just going to say this hypothetical. I'll get 5 subscribers after this video. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. 5 people join the family. I love it. It's pushing me closer to the goal that I want. This is great. It encourages you when you get the subscribers and the likes and all of that and the views. But what does not encourage you is the fact that for some reason, say by Tuesday, 3 of those subscribers would have unsubscribed. So I don't know if other content creators is having this issue. I don't know if they're bots. I don't know who subscribes to somebody's channel, then all of a sudden decide that they want to go back the next day or the next 2 days and unsubscribe to their channel. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody I'm subscribed to, once I click the subscribe button, I'm just subscribed to them. I don't look to go back and unsubscribe to them or do anything crazy like that. So serious subscribers only. And it's crazy because liking a video and subscribing to a channel doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't. But it's crazy because I feel like it is real life haters out here on YouTube. I feel like if they see that you're on a road to get to 1K that could get you monetized, they want to put a monkey wrench in the whole scenario. They're just like, oh, let's stop her. Let's unsubscribe so she don't get the 1K or get moving in the right direction. And again, like I said, it could possibly be some bots. It could possibly be people in other countries. I don't know what the heck is going on. All I'm saying is that if you subscribe to my channel, please stay subscribed to my channel, because I'm just like, why is it that we doing a cha-cha slide with my daggone subscribers? You moving up, back, side to side, whatever it is. And it's crazy because I see, I get my analytics. When you're a content creator, you have to download an app called the YouTube Studio, and that's where I give all my analytics, like how many people viewed, where you viewed from, what videos they viewed the most, stuff like that, right? And so I see that people are watching, but for the life of me, they're not subscribing. So all that to say, please help us out. Go ahead and subscribe. Normally, I don't do a subscription rant, but it just was a little annoying when I checked it out earlier. And I checked it out yesterday, and one person had unsubscribed yesterday, and then today another person unsubscribed. I'm just kind of like, why even subscribe? Like, if I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, right? I get that. But if I'm not, then just keep it pushing and you don't have to subscribe. And it's not like I'm trying to beg anybody for subscribers, because I believe God is going to bless my channel to grow regardless of if people are unsubscribing or subscribing or what have you. But however, it is kind of discouraging and irritating when you see your subscribers grow and you're like, oh, I gained 5 new people, and then over the next 2 days 2 or 3 of them people drop off, and you're just kind of like, why is that happening? So if you love my vibe on this channel, which I'm sure you will, because, you know, I do a plethora of things. This is a lifestyle channel. I encourage people on this channel. I report on breaking news on this channel. I give story time on this channel. I give show reviews on this channel. Like, I do a plethora variety of things. I'm working on doing reaction videos on this channel. So, you know, it's something that I love to do, and it's something on this channel that you will have a myriad of things that you can choose from to vibe with on the channel. And I feel like I put the extra sauce because of who I am and my personality. So if y'all like it, if y'all love it. Now, I'm not, maybe this video isn't for you, right? However, I have other stuff. So maybe go check out other things on my video and then decide if you want to subscribe to the channel. So, Siri tried to come on my phone. So with all that being said, that's all I wanted to say about that. Please subscribe, like the video, even replay watchers, comment in the comment section. I always do respond if you comment. And yeah, you're gonna love the channel. So do that for me. I appreciate it. I'm a little early with the story time, y'all. I was supposed to come out at 6, but like I said, this has been a very, very busy day. I had a busy night because I had to help my husband at his restaurant, and that was very busy, and so time sprung forward. And so because it sprung forward, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm just trying to get something off my phone. Because it sprung forward, we lost an hour of sleep. I hate spring forward. I hate it with a passion, because you lose an hour of sleep, right? And it means that you have to go to bed earlier so you can get that hour of sleep back. And so today has just been a lot, and so it's been long. So I was just like, let me come out and do this story time, and then go ahead and relax for the rest of the evening. Tomorrow, this is the rundown of my schedule. If you want to check me out and you want to see what's going on over here at the Redefine Me channel, I do Motivational Monday shorts. I do shorts. So if you're looking for a video, I won't do that on motivation, but I will give you a short. I always try to give a message that will help the people, encourage you, or what have you. Okay, that's what I do on Monday. On Wednesday, I do Tasha's Topics. Now, I did used to call it Lunchtime Language. However, I wanted to change the title. So Wednesday I do that, and I do that at 6 p.m. So when you're subscribed to, make sure your notification button is on so that YouTube can alert you whenever I go live. Okay, so I do that on Wednesday. On if I want to start doing cold cases. And so I'm thinking Thursdays, maybe Friday. I probably come out and do it Friday. On Fridays, I'm gonna start doing cold case stories or true crime stories and talk about some of these stories that have been coming out lately. Like there's a bunch of stuff that we haven't even heard about that I want to dive into and get into. So I may add that to my roster for Friday. Normally, I review on Sunday Love After Lockup. That doesn't come back on until March 21st. So once that comes back on, I will drop the story times on Sunday and I will review Love After Lockup on Sunday instead of the story times. So that's like my content schedule. Now, on Thursdays, I may pop on and do a Let's Chat video live. And so that may happen, may not happen. If something happens in between that is a breaking news story or something, you may see me pop on the Tuesday or something like that. So most importantly, the basics time that I do go live or that I do post is on Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. Excuse me. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for those who have subscribed and stayed subscribed and like the video. Thank you all so much. So check out some things. I've done a couple of things on my channel recently. I did a short on Gayle King as well. Y'all know she is supposed to be a part of some SpaceX exploration team of women that's supposed to be going up in space. However, y'all, I think she don't want to do it and she's nervous to do it because she really doesn't look like she wants to. Like every time she talks about it, she looks like she's about to just freak out. Only because they have tested 8 of these aircrafts and they're made by Elon Musk. Oh, Trina, I see you, girl. They're made by Elon Musk, right? Oh, thank you so much, Trina. I appreciate it. Oh, you cooking dinner? What you making for dinner? So these spacecrafts. What's up, Big Trent? These spacecrafts that Elon Musk has made, right? He done tested 8 of them, child. They blowing up all over the place. So Gayle is scared to go up into space because, oh, you cooking meatloaf? Okay. She's scared to go up into space because these freaking aircrafts keep blowing up, and I don't blame her. Shoot. Forget that. Oh, the story time is over. If y'all want to hear the story time, once I end it, y'all can go back and start the video over and watch the story time from the beginning. But yeah, y'all, check out that short I did with about Gayle King. Yes, Trina, I agree. She needs to keep her tail here on the ground. Because Gayle, at this point, is a news anchor. What the heck you reporting on in space? Oh, I see the stars and the moon is up here. Let me tell you something. If God wanted us to be in space, we would have been in space. But he didn't. So he created Earth for us to live on Earth. And I'm going to stay on Earth. Okay, I don't need to see what's going on out there. If I want to see what's going on in space, I would get me a telescope and I will look up at the stars. But ain't no need of me going out there to do what? And she's terrified, and you can tell. And I would be too if all of the testing models that you have sent off have been blowing up. You're not going to blow me up. I think, how old is Gayle? I think Gayle is in her, I want to say she in her early 70s though. Let me see. Hey, Suri. How old is Gayle? How old is Gayle King? Suri, don't listen. Hey, Suri.
Huh?
How old is Gayle King? 70. Yeah, she's 70 years old. Girl, if you don't sit down, leave that stuff to them freaking Gen Zers. She have been trying to blast off, and I'm just like, girl. I'm like, girl, sit down. Sit down. And you got her good old girlfriend Oprah trying to sit up here and say, "Oh, don't be scared," and her cast trying to encourage her. Child, let me tell you something. Gail feels it in her gut that she should not be going to space. And let me tell you something. I agree, Gail. Keep your butt here, child. You is 70 years old. Ain't nobody. I'm not trying to come out because I think they supposed to go in April. I think they supposed to go in April. But I'm not trying to come out and do no daggone hot topic saying R.I.P. Gail King. I really don't want to do that. So, girl, keep your butt here. Here. You don't need to go out there. Ain't nothing out there. You ain't meant to be out there. And I wish they stop trying to poke around in space and leave well enough alone. Let space take care of space. And let us stay on Earth. But anyway, y'all, I love y'all. I really, really do. Thank y'all for joining me. And I'm going to talk to y'all later. I'm about to go relax, take off my little church clothes and stuff. A month is too soon. Yeah. Especially if they keep blowing up these daggone tests. Child, let me tell you something. You couldn't get me to ever get on no spaceship and you talking about you tested 8 of them and they keep blowing up. They've seen particles blow up over Florida, over the Bahamas. It just keeps blowing up. So obviously that may be God trying to tell you something, Gail. Keep your butt here. I wish I had her phone number. I'd be like, "Hey girl." Right. No. I'd be like, "Hey girl, here's the conversation. Ring, ring, ring. Hey Gail, what's up, girl? How you doing?" "Oh, I'm awesome. Husband's great, daughter's great. How are you?" "Oh, you're good? That's good. Listen, I heard that you were trying to go to space." "Don't do it, girl. Okay, don't do it." My voice would change from proper to hood. "Girl, stay here. Do not do it, Gail. Okay, let them stars take care of them stars. Don't listen to them white people. Girl, they white. Okay, that's what they do. You listen. No, it's not enough money. Don't listen to Oprah either. She's a sellout. Gail, don't do it, girl. Okay, I'm just telling you now. Did you see all the aircrafts that blew up? Didn't you see the particles falling out of the sky? What's wrong with you? Girl, don't do it. All right, girl. Okay, you're not going to do what you promised. All right, well, if you need to talk or anything like that, and then white folks on your job start trying to talk you in to going back up to space, you give me a call. All right, now. Okay, tell your man I said hey. Well, tell Oprah I said hey. All right, talk to you later, Gail. All right, bye, girl. That's how the conversation would go. Because I'm going to keep it 100. No. And not even for Gail. If any of my girlfriends came to me telling me some crazy mess, I'm going to give it to you straight. No. 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 And I want to come out and do a video, y'all, for real, and talk about, do y'all watch Married at First Sight? Did y'all watch this season? Let me know in the comments if y'all watch this season of Married at First Sight. Because that last episode, the daggone season finale was doing a lot. But I wouldn't even cover the whole season finale. I was only going to talk about MM on the show. Child, she's what you call a desperate woman. She's a pick-me-sha. Okay? I don't know. I might come out and do a video on her. But, yeah. If y'all didn't see it, check it out, because this chick right here, she has went through the ringer. I actually did a video on her and the person that they matched her with a little while ago. But this season, she started off being somebody I liked because she was very professional, but then she turned out to be this pick-me-sha. Like, she didn't care who she was married to. She just wanted to be married, child. Anyway. Let me get off of here, y'all. I love y'all, and I am going to talk to y'all later. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Make sure your notification buttons is on, and I'm going to see y'all the next time. All right. I love y'all. Happy Sunday to y'all. Have a good evening. Bye.